if you thought you were looking at Vanguard's most awaited encounter, you would be completely wrong. No one really cares about Night Rose. It's all about the correct way to play Vanguard. Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Mr. here. Today we are back for DZ 3 Dimensional Transcendence. At least that's what they call it in English. In Japanese, it's Dimensional Super Jump. Today we are covering the cover deck, and the deck that personally I've tested a lot and I really enjoy it. And now that we've just finished WGP Nagoya, I feel like I have enough context to be able to talk about this deck at long last. So today we're going through Daiyusha. I'm really excited. Most of this shit is only base rare because I couldn't afford the high rare, but it's alright. Today we're also here with someone who couldn't afford the high rare. Today we have Fader Fourth.
I love playing differently.
So the thing is that surprisingly, DivineZ didn't play this deck in Nagoya. Don't know why, but it's alright. Today we will be going through Dimension Play. I mean, I think most people will go through this deck at least once, be it either playing it yourself or playing against someone else, because this deck is just insanely popular. And they got Kote's VA back for the advertisement, if I'm not mistaken. So that was really good. So let's go through it. Daiyusha, I think just some premises we should go through first before we move on. Daiyusha is mainly a go second deck. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone. Because a lot of the meta right now is go first. It's a go second jump deck, which is very similar to Ezo. So for those of you who remember my Ezo, I will put the link in the description. Yeah, it's basically a jump deck as well, and he fights really well against a lot of go first decks because the restanding pressure and whatnot is really good. Although one downside of Daiyusha, although I wouldn't call it a downside, but a lot of people that are more traditional Dimension Police fans that are quite upset is that we seem to have abandoned the burst idea. But if you want to play burst, you can just play Chamao. You know, you have Chamao, right? It's just like how if you want to play Vermilion, just play Clarissa. It's the same nonsense. But I still like this new idea of Dimension Police, and you will see as the cards go on. I feel like there's a lot more flavor this time. It doesn't just feel like, oh, I need to put more dice on my center column. It feels a lot more fun, in my opinion, but I could be wrong. And there could still be more support in December, right? Is it December?
It's a bit too early.
A bit too early?
December's a bit early.
But you could get a promo buying this year, right?
Yeah.
So
I'll see you guys back in the mines.
Alright, we will see you too. So let's go through it real quick for our right line. Our right line, obviously we play energy. Daiyusha is an encounter that uses a lot of energy, as it's very involved in energy. So if you want to learn more, you can check out DivineZ Explain video, link in the description. It's the same stuff. I mean, it's gonna be half a year now. So if you don't know what energy is, I do recommend checking it out. We have Daiyusha, who is now the best starter in D for Brandt. If you are playing Brandt, you have to play this starter unless you can't. But you should. This art is so good. I'm so happy we got Daiyusha.
Daiyusha
and Daiyusha as well. It's really nice, but I prefer the VR.
No, I think this one is still the best.
Okay, leave in the comments your favorite Daiyusha art and why.
Yes.
Then of course we have
Daiylander. Dimensional Robo.
Yes, Daiylander.
Yeah. Daiylander, yes.
Daiylander, when he's rolled on the Vanguard circle,
you search a deck for a base card
and then add it to your hand. Now, base sounds like the heroes, but we actually have our own dimensional base, which I will get into that in a bit.
But yes, you can still search the hero base from this.
Yeah, so you can actually play this in the heroes deck and completely confuse your opponents.
Yeah, and then his other skill is auto. When this card is placed on the Vanguard circle from Soul, if your Vanguard is a grade 3 or greater Daiyusha, Daiyusha, is Daiyusha right? Yes, it is indeed. It has to be Daiyusha. So sadly, then Daikaiser comes out. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Change the right line.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the Divas Magnum. Who knows?
Yeah, they probably will.
Then so basically, then he's caught. And so when he's placed on Soul, and your Vanguard is Daiyusha, you give himself and your Vanguard 5,000 power for free.
That's really good.
Yeah, but it's like. It's good, but it's not like amazing because it doesn't like give you much card advantage, and it just gives you power. So this is actually the most DP card in the entire wave, sadly.
Because all the dimensional robos, they have an effect when caught from the soul, right? So the idea, yes, we're gonna spoil it for you, is you have to gather all the machine parts into the soul, and then you but we'll reach there when we reach there, and then eventually down the line, you also get to split and call the parts out to rear that circle, and you gain more effects from there.
Yeah.
So, and the spoilers are out of the way in case you didn't know how this deck works. Now you do. Gigant Robo, Dragon, when rode upon by a grade 3 unit with Daiyusha in his name.
Yes.
Great Daiyusha counts as well. You can call this to the rearguard circle, and when called to the rearguard circle from the soul by a card effect, right? When called by a card effect.
It's when called from Soul.
Caught by Soul at card effect.
If your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater Daiyusha.
Then he gains 5,000 power until the end of the turn.
Until the end of
the opponent's turn.
Basically, the whole text is until the end of your opponent's turn. He gets the red text plus the 5k.
The red text is that when your Vanguard is attacked.
When your grade 3 or greater Daiyusha is attacked.
You can retire him and then the Daiyusha gets 15. So it's a 50k shield.
Yes.
Which is really poetic because Daiyusha is meant to be the Dragon is meant to be the shield. So it's really nice that they gave him a defensive ability.
Yes.
And I just find it really on point. And it's a rare. It's a rare card.
Basically, like in any matchup that is not Mr. Blanky Mario, this is actually one of the best cards that you can actually recycle and call back.
Yeah, like you can stop Draconic Kaiser Vermilion from drawing.
Yeah, because this deck does have hand size issues, so just having the extra 15k shield on the board is always nice.
And you criticize Vajula.
Yes.
This is Daiyusha now, so again,
Super Dimensional Robo. Daiyusha.
Super Dimensional Robo. There's another Super Dimensional Robo. We'll get to her later.
Daiyusha's first ability is that when he attacks, you counterblast one to draw a card, and then if your opponent is grade 3 or greater, you choose up to 6 different named Dimensional Robos on your field, and you give all of them 5,000 power. So basically, later we'll explain that there actually are exactly 6 dimensional Robos besides Goyusha. So if not counting Daiyusha, there are exactly 6 dimensional Robos that are included in this set with different names. So you can basically, you have the entire crew assembled, then you give all of them 5k when these guys attack, and then you also draw. But the main takeaway is that he basically draws a card when he attacks for 1 counter blast, which is always
really good.
Which is really good for DP.
It's like Kanada half away.
Yeah, it's quite insane for DP. Then the second skill is what we alluded to the fact that they're not really going with the burst playstyle, they're rather like changing the playstyle of DP to actually suit what is later iterations become in premium, which is basically like you want to pressure, you want to get your opponent at very awkward damage amounts, and then also you want to do that multiple times because his second ability is that auto once per turn at the end of the battle that this unit attacked, you may put a card from your hand into the soul, and then you restand him and he loses 2 drive check. Wow, Baga Dragons, wow.
Wow.
But if you have Persona Written this turn and your bind zone does not have a Dimensional Robo Goyusha in it, you can bind the Goyusha from your soul to give this guy 1 drive check. So that means that on the Persona right turn, he restands with a drive check. So it really does give you a lot of pressure for Daiyusha, because otherwise it's just gonna be basically just worse Vaga Dragons, because he doesn't even gain 10k, he only gains 5k, and that's only if your opponent is grade 3 or greater. So otherwise, it's not a very threatening restand, but the pressure is always there even without the drive, but the drive does help a lot.
Alright.
So actually, it's actually sort of reminiscent of like Commander Laurel from the original series, where it's like he will basically just give Daiyusha an extra restand if your opponent was unable to guard, and then he can then attack again, and now he doesn't even need to hit, he just always restands.
Actually, that's the funniest part. People say, oh, Daiyusha now is so unlike what he used to be in 2011. Like, do you guys forget Commander Laurel? Like, is it only me that remembered him? No? Maybe. Alright, let's move on before the Dimension Police fossil fans come and attack me. Moving on, we are going to talk about something different this time. Yes, we are going to talk about their base first, because we can. They actually have a base, as Dylander would have spoiled it for you. It's Dimensional Robo Daibase, which I have to admit, I've truly been in love with every encounter order that they've added so far into this series. Their art just tells you a lot of stories. Judgment Maelstrom tells you the story of Maelstrom resurrecting after Leon made the deal with Water Satan. You had Lucria during her normal sex party. You have Vermilion fending off against invaders from Dragon Empire. And here you have the home of the Zigen Robos, the original crew. Which is really nice to see. My question is, will Dylander drown? Please, someone let me know. I need to know if he survives, okay? You put him in water, like how? Okay, but enough of him. So, Daibase is not only a set order, which, surprise, Brandt, it also is the main way you utilize energy. So again, spoiler, if you did not check out DivineZ explain video, you may be a bit lost. So we are going to have an energy counter here. So let's go through it. Dimensional Robo Daibase. You can play this order if you have a Dimensional Robo name, right?
Yeah, your Vanguard is Dimensional Robo.
Vanguard is Dimensional Robo name. So that's about right. So if you play... No. They're both X skills, so after you play. So you can rest this card, energy charge 1.
Yes.
Search your drop zone for 1-dimensional Robo name.
Grade 2. Grade 2 or lower.
Grade 2 or lower
Grade 2 or
dimensional
lower
Robo
dimensional.
name.
Yes.
And put it into your soul. If this order has been installed this turn, literally, you can search the deck instead for any dimensional Robo, right?
No, it has to be. It's still grade 2 or less.
So any grade 2 or less dimensional Robo and put it into the soul.
Yeah.
So right now that would mean everyone except Daiyusha himself. Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah,
And
that's like the main reason why he's so good, because it's like it's the first time in a very long time that Dimension Police has actual deck teaming.
Yeah, and not only that, so he shall be big soon. So you have 3 energy, right? You use this guy, you get 1 energy extra, 4. Then you can use the second skill for another copy and go down to 2 energy. And what does the 2 energy do? The 2 energy is if your Vanguard is a dimensional Robo name, you can energy blast 2, rest this card. So you only can use one of these skills per copy because you can't withstand the base, at least not yet, right? Not yet. So you can't do that. But in Heroes you can though. And then after that you choose the dimensional Robo, grade 2 or lower card from your soul and call it to the rear guard.
Yes.
Correct? So in this way your base actually helps you thin the deck and build the board. And it completely interacts on turn 1 because it's a grade 0, which means you actually can start it on turn 1, and then you can actually accumulate the bases. You only get 1 base through the right line, which is through Dilander. Yes. And you actually have one more way to search in the form of Dilady, but you can still play other ways to search few spells because this is Brandt Gate, and the more few spells you have, you generally can scale a lot better. So your energy can just go completely berserk, and you can just plus 2 Kingdom Come. You can even have enough energy to do the EV7 drop. But we're going to get into that later, right?
Yeah.
We've got something prepped for you for that. So, when talking about energy, at least for this deck, we have to keep this in mind, and this is generally how the deck will be functioning. So, in case you're wondering, well, why do they go into Soul? Why do they come out of Soul? How does this work? It's because of die base. So, don't miss it.
Yeah.
Don't miss it.
Very, very important card.
For our grade 3s,
it's just 4 copies of Daiyusha and 1 in the right deck. If you there are actually quite a lot of decks I've seen that they're playing like some really weird tech options. So, they play Taser Lich, they want to stop Raziel. They play Advent Robust because they want to search the base. I think that's really about like some of the weird combinations that I've seen for Daiyusha. But generally, we just want to keep this version of the deck more simple because obviously there's going to be even more Daiyushas coming out. There's going to be even more there's going to be even more Super Dimensional Robo Grade 3s coming out eventually. But for now, it's just the man himself.
Yep.
In terms of playing Regalis piece, I think generally like if you this deck can't really afford to play ladder because you rather just
play card.
If you fight Shiranui, like you should just be winning before ladder is necessary. Otherwise, you just lose.
Because you're a goal second deck, generally speaking, you would want to compete for his goal second and then smack him down yourself.
Yeah.
But in the case that you don't, which is a possibility, if you go first, then you can actually just try and push him earlier for the turn 2 and turn 3 instead, and pray that he doesn't draw 4 copies of fruit, right?
Yeah. So generally, like it's okay to not run like any other Regalis piece, I guess, because also like there are also bricks in hand. But like if the card doesn't either is shield in hand or it's a dimensional Robo that you can call or put into soul, it really doesn't do anything. Yeah, because the thing is that Daiyusha wants to make sure that the cards that he puts into soul for his restand costs are usually cards that he can call out later in the game,
which are dimensional Robos.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into that soul synergy in a very close bit because we actually came very prepared for this deck profile. Our grade 2s, we play 1 copy of Daidollar.
In the right deck.
He's from the right deck, he is no stranger here.
The reason why we're only playing 1 copy of Dai Dragon is because you generally don't need that much shield in his deck. You don't need 30k shield.
And you only get the skills when called from the ability from the soul.
Yeah.
So you might as well just loop the 1 copy.
Yeah.
We play 4 copies of Bullet of Creation, Transcendence.
Yes.
Then we play 4 copies of Super Dimensional Robo, Dilady. I told you there's more than 1 Super Dimensional Robo. And here's the surprise shocker that we have been testing on, and we're here to scare you. If you talk about soul, the first thing you think about is Harry. The first thing you think about is Dark States, and because you are thinking of Dark States, we have a Brandt Gate and Dark States fusion in the form of Search and Draganga from Festival Booster 2024. But We'll get to her later because she's very controversial. Let's talk about the stuff we already know. Die Dragons.
Yeah.
Cool.
You just play one copy because you also want to make sure you have as many unique dimensional Robo names on the board as possible to maximize Daiyusha CB1.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Die Lady.
Die Lady is basically the in-archetype version of Event Robust for this deck.
Yes.
Yeah, so basically the skill is almost just as good as Event Robust, except she's a great 2, which means she's an intercept, which means she can clear herself off the board, which means it's also easier to put her into soul after that.
Yes.
And also she's a dimensional Robo, so that really makes her way better than Event Robust. So her skill is when placed on Vanguard Circle, if your Vanguard is a dimensional Robo, you search your deck. Yeah, so it doesn't need to be Daiyusha, it just needs to be a dimensional Robo. So you search your deck for Counterblast 1, you search your deck for up to 1 die base and add it to your hand. Yeah, so you just add the die base to hand, and then after that you can just set it afterwards if you already haven't set one this turn. So no, it's not like MS Dania, you can't like superior set, but it's okay because you can just set it from hand. Then her second ability is that when she attacks a grade 3 or greater, when she attacks a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, if you have 2 or more die base in your order zone, then she gains 10,000 power.
Yep.
So basically it's just Event Robust, except you need to wait until your opponent is grade 3 to get the 10k, whereas Event Robust just needs the 2 orders of the same name to get the 10,000 power. But she's loopable, so she's all well ends well. And also her art is really pretty. Yeah. Do you want to know what her art looks like in the original series? I bought type 1 in your comment in this video if you even knew Die Lady was a card in 2011 in the 2014 Die Kaiser trial deck.
Yeah, like she actually was in there.
Dude, I cannot tell you how many people thought, oh my god, it's gonna be Commander Laurel, oh my god, it's gonna be
Cosmo B.
Cosmo B. No, it's Die Lady.
I mean, Die Lady is one of the first dimensional robots, so it does make sense.
It's Die Lady.
And she's a Mongo.
So speaking about energy, we have Bullet of Creation, Maria.
Yep.
Yeah. So Bullet of Creation is a very controversial card to play in this deck because obviously
no, not as controversial.
Your base already uses up a lot of energy. You want to use up all your energy to use for the base, and then what energy do you have left to guard?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that this deck also has a lot of counterblasts. In case you haven't wondered, there's only 2 cards in this entire deck that actually actively use your CB.
We have also gone out of the way to procure cards that will help us. We will get into him later.
Generally, you do have a lot of either both energy and counterblast that you don't need to use every single turn. So that's why your best option to then use up that counterblast is to just play the Gun Cycler. Because obviously the Gun Cycler is a net positive for almost every deck that doesn't strictly rely on the blast 7 to draw, because Daiyusha usually always is at the breakpoint of 6 energy.
Yes.
It's always at even numbers of energy. You will never really reach like 9 energy.
You know who else is at the breakpoint of 6 energy?
Yeah, we'll cover him in another video.
We will not cover it.
Yes.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah, so basically, then you might as well just use the 3 energy to draw in the scenario where you actually need the cards in hand to guard. And if you actually see multiple of him, then it means you're also netting even more than the blast 7 to draw. If you want to watch the Divine Explain video about how energy economy works and how the gun cycles only really profit once you reach 2 of them in your hand in 1 turn, rather than, because then otherwise you're basically just netting that the same, except you do it in the one of them you do it on your opponent's turn, and one of them you do it in your main phase, which is obviously better. Like main phase draw is always better, which this deck doesn't really do, but it's fine because you just call all your cards from soul anyways. So if you don't know what a Gun Cycler does, I know I've spent this entire spiel assuming that you sort of know what he does. But basically what Bullet of Creation does is that when he's ditched for when she's ditched for the right deck, or when placed on a Guardian Circle, you may either Counter Blast 1 or Energy Blast 3 to draw a card. So it basically nets you back the card that you put on the Guardian Circle or the card you discarded for the right deck.
In this way, it helps you beat out a lot of cheap aggression decks, which in that sense are decks that always demand for 5k guard. In this case, you can basically turn 1+ point, aka CB1 or EB3, and just use it for quick draw to cycle through for better defense. So in a deck like Daiyusha, where you generally have the energy to spare all the counter blasts even, you can actually use this card to dig through your deck further and guard the cheaper attacks, especially for very notorious early aggro decks like Starhuja and Rezael and Ruat, who will try and threaten you for the early 5k shields. Even Shiranui before Revoltus, you can say goodnight to all of them, because this is a card that will actually help you in the defense more than you think.
Yeah, then her second ability is when placed, if you have Persona Ridden this turn, Color Blast 1 or Energy Blast 3, so it's the same cost. You search your deck for up to one card with one grade 3 or greater card with a different name from your Vanguard, or a set order and add into your hand, and then if you added a card in your hand, you shuffle your deck and then you discard one card from your hand. So this won't be relevant now, but do note who you are talking about. We're talking about Daiyusha. So you already know what's going to come out in 6 to 8 months, and you might want to look out for trying to get this card somehow. Yeah, so basically, that's basically what Bullet Creation does. And now we go.
And now for our most controversial pick, and the video is already 20 minutes long. It is Search and Ultra Ganga.
Yeah. So Search Ultra Ganga is the cheapest currently the cheapest dual nation card.
By the time this video comes out, it's already doubled.
Dual nation card from Festival Booster 2024, because generally her skill is not that relevant in the sense of that they don't really plus shield value to hand, they don't plus shield value to board. All they do is just give you consistency. But then Daiyusha just needed that extra bit of consistency to then become from a Ali Gugu like tier 4 deck to actually competitive deck that can do what it wants to do almost every single time that you play the game.
Absolutely.
So what Search and Jajanga does is that when placed from hand during outside of your battle phase on the rearguard circle, you look at the top cards of your deck equal to the number of set orders in your order zone plus 1, and then you put one card from among them that you looked at into your soul, and if you looked at more than one card, then you put the rest back into the deck and then you shuffle your deck.
Yep.
And then after that, after you put the card into soul, you may then counter blast 1 to then choose a grade 2 or greater normal unit or a set order and add them back to your hand. So the set order doesn't need to follow the grade restriction, but the unit card needs to. So basically, you either add back your Persona Right, you can add back a Persona Right, you can add back a Die Lady, you can add back basically anything, and then or you can add back the die base itself from the soul.
Yeah, which is just really good. Because Daiyusha is a persona based deck, so looping your personas is always great, especially since we actually don't play card in this deck. You can play card, you can play the chalice, but you know.
Yeah, so note that this only nets set orders from the soul and not anything else. Not any other order type. So if you play card and you put in the soul, you can't take the card back out. It's gone forever.
It's gone.
Yeah. So Search and Jajanga is basically here mainly for a reason that we'll discuss later, because the Daiyusha is a deck that needs specific cards in its soul at specific type points in time, but also it's just cheap. It's cheap deck thinning for a deck that already can mass produce up to 3 set orders by turn 3. So basically, already on most of the games, it's going to be looking at top 4 or even at most top 5.
Which is really good. I mean, given how DivineZ works with the new 54 and the bigger deck size, you know, yeah, I would expect more thinning to be better.
Yeah, and then things that she can, and then things that even if you see like all set orders, like you see all triggers, you can just choose to put none of them, and then you don't even need to pay the color blast. So it's unlike like Veltros and DL to do her skill. Even if you whiff, you basically didn't even spend anything besides calling the card from him. Yeah. So Search and Jajanga, really, really good card, and I recommend you picking her up as soon as possible if you want to play Daiyusha.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Moving on to our grade 1s. Our grade 1s, we play a copy of Dailander from our right deck. Yes, we spent over 20 minutes now at this point talking about this, but we are going to keep going, okay? We are going to keep going. So, Dailander.
If you want to play more copies of Dailander, that's also fine, because Dailander is a very, very strong rearguard to have. Actually, I did used to play more copies, but then there comes a point where you realize that just giving 5k to your Vanguard doesn't really accomplish much anymore in this series, because you know your opponent always has like that 20k shield in the hand anyway, so you know just having an 18k Vanguard doesn't really do much these days.
We have 4 copies of Die Mariner.
Yes,
4 copies
Die
of
Mariner,
Die Battles.
and Dimensional Die Battles.
We play 4 Perfect Guard. You can play 72 in here, it's fine. And last but not least, we have farmed a lot of tournaments, we've beaten up a lot of children and working adults also. And we also have this card.
Yes.
Really expensive and must play card. And it's a tournament promo, it is a B hero promo, which means you will have to fight off the 1 to 2 world champions that actually play B heroes. Good luck getting this card, and I mean this sincerely. Good luck, man. Really good luck. But we'll get into him later because he's the most, dangerous one. Let's talk about the rest of the deck so far. 4 Perfect Guards is 4 Perfect Guards, Can't any perfect guards. Die battles. Die battles, when called by a card effect from the soul, and if you have a Vanguard with Daiyusha, that's great shield greater, and your opponent is great shield greater as well, your Vanguard gains +1 critical, which is really nice for die battles because he basically puts the force 2 on your Vanguard. By putting force 2 and by restanding, it basically means that Daiyusha can threaten for up to 4 damage in a single turn if you go second. Yes. Why do I say that? Because of his first skill, which is the X skill with once per turn effect. From the soul, if your Vanguard is, okay, say this with me since we're all here together. If your Vanguard is Dimensional Robo, Daidolon, and if you have Daiyusha, Daimatals, Daimarina, Dailanda in your soul, you can move 1 additional card from your hand into the soul.
Yes.
2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, then you can Superior Ride, Super Dimensional Robo, Daiyusha from the right deck. No restriction. No.
I mean the restriction is that your opponent is good.
Who cares? As long goes drive -1 and I limp for half of my WGD.
Yeah, but you can
you
can personal right when I'm good too.
Who cares? It's only 3 damage, bro. Just take the 3 damage and then just try it. Ezel is shit. Okay, never mind. The point is that, you know, as I was trying to say before I was distracted, Die Battles is a card you absolutely need in the soul. I'm sorry, you need all of them in the soul. Just make sure Die Battles is one of the first few, because not only you see your jump enabler, he's also your crit enabler. So I think we've pretty much stressed how important he is to you.
Yeah, it's the most annoying because you have to call him back every single turn to get the crit. But
yeah, but it's worth it with the base. Dailanda, as we said, he's the safety guy. He's the nice guy in the relationship. He's gonna really help you jump over the magic numbers with a +5. But you only need him at 1 to max 2 because realistically, the 5k doesn't do you very much. I'm sorry when everyone is playing a guy that says when play CD1, soul charge 1 +5, call 1, he doesn't really do much. Alright, I'm sorry. But if you want to talk about someone who does move in the soul, we actually do have a clone of the award-winning Toga Chirashi in the form of Dai Mariner. Dai Mariner, register number 4. He's a double rare. Okay, so when discarded from the hand during the turn, you can move it to the soul. So it's basically Toga Chirashi. Do note this effect is generic.
Yes.
So you can play this in Vanguard. Okay, you heard me. This is Vanguard support. When called from the soul to the rear guard by a card effect, if your Vanguard is a grade 3 Daiyusha, your Vanguard gains 2000 power.
This
gains 2000 power and your opponent cannot intercept. So we are back to Vanguard Regress. Yeah. Good job, guys. Good job. We spent 3,000 years and we ended up in the same bullshit.
It's never beating the allegations. I never beating the allegations that I'm just a filthy Vanguard player.
You are. Alright.
Yes. Then we have Galactic B Hero B-Belston.
Yes.
The super strong promo card that is definitely for heroes, guys. It's definitely for
heroes. God bless.
So basically all it is just Bobo Mine.
It's just Bobo Mine.
So it's when this card boosts, if you have a base when this card boosts, if you have a base card in your set order zone,
which you will have,
because this card is a base card, this card gains 2000 power, and at the end of the battle that he boosted, you put him into the soul to counter charge for him.
So you not only have your own in-archetype Bobo Mine, your Bobo Mine gains 2000 power.
Okay, it's not in archetype, but you know, it's as archetypal as it can be, because you know it's a 10k booster, so it means already better than Bobo Mine. And it's also a card, and it's also just Bobo Mine itself.
Yeah, and not only that, it gains 2000 power, which means you chip over a lot of magic numbers, going second as well as going first. Yeah. So this card is a minimum 3 off, maximum 4 off. We are playing 3 here because we are experimenting with multiple lists that we receive from Nagoya and so forth. But I want to stress it to you 100%. As long as you intend to play Daiyusha at any point in your life cycle, you need to own this card in form. Yeah. There's no option when you say, but no. It has to be. You have to own this stuff. This guy is way more important than all the other stuff we've gone through. If you can't afford Bullet of Creation, no problem. You can't afford Surge in Joganga, no problem. You have absolutely to pick this guy up 100%, because there is no substitute for him. You may say, oh, Bobo Mine's a substitute. Yeah, but you're actively throwing away a magic number. So, yeah, we leave it to you. But if you can take away anything from this damn period, or buy this guy, please. Please go to your local tournaments, play as Kidani intended, win, get this card. Please, please, please. I played 9 tournaments in 2 weeks last month for a reason. last but not least, triggers and grade zeros. Yeah, we've gone through this already. So for heals, of course, 1 OT. We have to play this guy because, you know, Brandt, 3 effect draws, we need to draw pieces. 8 crits, we are restanding Vanguard deck, we need to kill people. Daiyusha, best boy. And that's about it for our Dimensional Robo Daiyusha deck profile for DivineZ. Very frankly speaking, I am very happy to cover this deck. Personally, I'm really excited. I think this deck is really strong and it's not too expensive actually, despite the fact that I stress on the price of some of these cards. In archetype wise, because the set is quite cheap, like the most expensive triple rare from set is what? 780 yen? 880 yen?
Wait for this deck.
Yeah.
It's 980.
980 now?
Which is Daiyusha himself.
Alright, but that means you can get the whole deck for about, say, I don't know, 80,000?
I think
8,000
8,000 yen would cover you even with B dash Delstone, honestly.
Yeah, because you know entry prices are only 200 yen. Yeah. So you can actually build the whole deck for less than $100, as the English argument always goes, which is great. You know, we are living in a meta right now, post set 2, for those of you who are joining us from post set 2, where a lot of people are just going first. A lot of people are playing hostage decks, a lot of people are playing really annoying stall decks, stun decks, and of course Shiranui. This video is pre-ban list, so surprise. Yeah. We need a go second option, and Kidani has responded. He has given us a go second option like none other. It's a very iconic card, very popular. I'm not lying. I'm just really glad we have this deck.
Yeah.
Did I want the blood this set? Absolutely. But if I can't get the blood, I'll settle for this guy.
Yeah. And then the thing is that because the set order is a base, there are a lot of options that we have not covered in this video that you can actually try.
Yes.
One of them is Bolt Celos. Yes, I've actually seen people play Bolt Celos in this deck.
Yes.
If you need another, then the other one that is honestly the most promising is Flatten Sufri.
Yeah,
so Flatten Sufri has now been kidnapped by 4 Brandt Gate decks that are not B heroes just because Blaster Blade is that good in this meta.
Well, I mean, what can you say?
Yes.
Whether on Earth or in space, you just can't keep a good 3,000-year-old swordsman down.
Yes.
Thank you all so much for watching. I know this video has been very long drag, but we are trying our best. I'm really busy this month and the next, not only preparing for our own WGPs. I've had some personal stuff as well, and I also have, you know, I'm still going to school, so that's still pretty tough. That being said, I'm going to try and cover 1 to 2 more DZBTO3 decks. I'm unlikely to do a Vermilion video, I would say so now, let alone Ezel or Maelstrom, because I just don't really have the time, and it's not really meaningful to do a deck profile for just 1 card. But if there's enough demand for it, or you know, I see something else down the line for this set that's worthwhile, I probably will cover it. Daiyusha, I absolutely had to, which is why he's the first video, and I probably will cover 1 to 2 of the new bosses in this set later as well. Not Shoujo Doji, you're not getting the video. Thank you all so much for watching, I'll see you next time, take care.